Hey there. Things are different today. It's later, I've showered, and I'm wearing earrings. That's a big deal. I just had the most amazing weekend at the fair. By the way, there are some flowers nearby that smell, they smell like jasmine. I don't know what that would be. So I've never even been to this fair before because I'm not a fair person. I don't like noise and crowds and monster trucks. And when I heard that those were the things that were going to be happening at this fair, and pig races and stuff, that I'm like, okay. But for some reason I decided to try it, and what I found out was that it was over the course of the 3 days, you spend a lot of time around your neighbors in the vendor barn, and it started to become a little community, and I started to feel, also because I really brought a strong intention of love with me, and, I was doing chair massage, so I was bringing as much love as I possibly could for my clients, and that was spilling out onto my neighbors, and I just felt like by the end, I felt like they were my family. And the last day was pretty slow because it rained in the morning, and so instead of giving paid massages, I ended up doing a lot of trades with the other vendors, and most of them were for jewelry. And so now I have all this jewelry that has a lot of meaning to me, and that feels so good. My history with jewelry is that for years and years I didn't wear it because I was kind of experimenting with a renunciate type of a thing. But lately I've been opening back up to this just my feminine nature or something. So anyways, I thought that my earring holes had closed up because it had been years and years since I wore earrings, and but one of the other vendors was this sweet guy who is he's all about chainmail. His entire life is about making chainmail. He had pictures from his wedding album at his booth where him and his bride were wearing chainmail for their wedding, that he had made. And he asked me if I would barter with him, and I was like, sure. I don't know what I would want from his booth, but I went and looked, and he had these earrings that he was making. And so I spent 20 minutes trying to get an earring post through my ear, and eventually it went through. And so he made these just for me. I don't know if you can see them, but they're really cool, actually. They're like this bright purple, spirally, twisty chainmail thing. So, and that means a lot to me. And then I have this necklace that this African man carved himself. He was really sweet. Him and his wife were there, and they had all these amazing things that he had carved. He had these really cool sculptures of elephants and giraffes and stuff, but they were more expensive. So I really liked them, and it felt really special. And there's more too at home. But what that means now is that not only do I have jewelry that I like and feel good about, but I would consider both of these items to be amulets, actually. My definition of an amulet is something that you can keep with you that has meaning and embedded in it, that changes your experience when you're wearing it. So you can create an amulet intentionally by, you might take a piece of jewelry and do some type of ritual where you put a certain intention into it. But another way to get an amulet is just that they become created naturally in life, and I think sometimes it's just about recognizing it. And not everybody thinks about it, but people say this is my lucky necklace, these are my lucky underwear. Those are amulets. And these are both amulets of being connected to other people, feeling a part of a community, feeling loved, and feeling loving. And it really, as I put the earrings in this morning and put the necklace on, I felt the effect that it had on me energetically was that my heart feels fuller and lighter. I feel happy, and I feel loved. And what an amazing thing! I had no idea that it was going to be such a valuable experience. Also, I got to hold a gigantic snake on my shoulders, so here's a picture of that. I was really happy. Dude, someone from the fair just called, and she scheduled an hour-and-a-half session for later today. And I'm like, what? And then right after that, I got a text from this girl. I forgot to tell you, my life is so full of cool stories that I forgot about this one. After I got home from the fair and I was exhausted and all I wanted to do was take a bath, I pull into my driveway and my neighbors across the street go, hey, can you help us? And I'm like, what? And their car was dead and they wanted to jump, and all of a sudden, like, I got filled with like happiness and like a desire to help them, because I don't know, what a cool thing to get to be, like a hero. And people have totally bailed me out in that situation. So I helped them jump their car. So she just sent me a text right after that saying, hey, thank you, that's so cool of you to do that. And it turned out that they were really cool, and they, you know, she's my across the street neighbor. She's also a massage therapist, and she's really cool, and we're talking about maybe we're gonna trade, and she might come to one of my singing parties soon. So I don't know, I just feel like really supported by life, and I feel like just it's more confirmation that feeding my soul causes success in a much more easeful and beautiful way. What was that? That wasn't enough? You needed to hear more of my deep philosophical thoughts about the symbolism of the county fair and everything that underlies it? Well, all right. You know, I expressed last week that I am realizing that I have a real desire to experience more community and sense of tribalism in my life. And as life often does, it's responding to my intention without me consciously trying to do anything about it. And, you know, the fair was a real example of that. Daniel Quinn, the author of Ishmael and Beyond Civilization, in his book Beyond Civilization, he talks a lot about the circus and how the circus is a modern example of a tribal business, because the people live and work together, they make their living together, there's an egalitarian nature to it, stuff like that. And how people, that's why people run away to join the circus, because they long for that sense of tribe, and that's why people will give everything to their circus, and they don't want to live without it. It's like, just like people in tribes, like if their tribe stopped existing, they would probably just like commit suicide, because their life is their tribe. And that's how important it is to people. And it doesn't surprise me that so many people are so unhappy in a world where it's hard to find that. So anyways, the difference between the circus and the fair is that the circus is long-term, and all of the different people stay together over time and move together, whereas the fair is just a short-term experience of people coming together and then going our separate ways. But even for those 3 days that we were all together, we faced difficulties together, you know, rainstorms and rumors about early closing and slow times and busy times. And, you know, I think especially I'm really fortunate being a massage therapist, because a lot of the other vendors really needed my services, especially by the end. They'd been on their feet, you know, for 3 days, and they came over to me and I helped them out, and so that creates a real bond. So I had a few moments where just this beautiful feeling and thought dawned on me. Like, my next door neighbors to the left were metal plasma cutting artist people, and then the chainmail guy was two vendors over to my right. And then there was some food, you know, mostly it was treats, like baked goods and things, but which I couldn't eat. But it just occurred to me that this is kind of like all that's left of the original, like, town center. You know, before everything was super regulated, before corporations existed, it's just like you go into town and there's like the baker, the butcher, and the candlestick maker, and it's just like this little community. And I felt like this was that. Like, this was like the place that could find in today's society. It's like the blacksmith, you know? Like, I feel like the blacksmith is like the archetypal image of like the town center back in the oldie times. And so that's why it's fun that there was a metal worker right next to me that was like, oh my god, that's the blacksmith, and I'm like the apothecary or like the healer or whatever, and then there's like the baker, and we're all just, you know, we're not like professionals or even entrepreneurs, we're just people that just set up our little shop, and it's more informal. And and we help each other out because to some extent we're all in it together. Like, we're all really different kinds of people, but through sharing this experience with them, I just felt a sense of family by the end of it, you know, to varying degrees with different people, and it was special. And I think that the thing I'm learning is that I can feel that sense of tribalism and family in a lot of places. It's just about being open to it. And I think that's the message of this video today, because it was the same thing when I came home, and my neighbor, who I've never met, who lives across the street, the reason I was happy and excited to help her is because I knew it was an opportunity to build community. So when somebody asks me for help, that's really a huge gift that they're giving me. They're offering me the experience of being in community, and now she's more likely to help me. It's just opened up a whole world of possibilities between us. Why not engage with as many people in my environment as possible? And it just builds and builds this feeling of like, oh, I belong to a community and I'm part of something greater than myself. And it's a really warm, fuzzy feeling. It's very needed, you know. I think that the world we live in today is very isolating, and I think that every opportunity to make a genuine connection with another person is a real gift. And then, of course, the long-term, like, the real tribe and community will be long-term relationships with a group of people that I know over time, and I think that that's coming. So that's all for today. I hope you try something that you didn't think was going to be awesome, and that it turns out that it is.